I'm the person that's in charge of bringing young men back to the Democratic Party, according to Donald Trump Jr., Trump War Room, Libs of TikTok. And while none of that's actually true, every single time I saw one of y'all posting about me, I had one main thought at the top of my head. Y'all are a bunch of y'all.
Cursing doesn't make you cool. Only an estrogen-riddled mind would think that Tony Saragusa's daughter, that's who's in the thumbnail, by the way, Tony Saragusa, would think that Tony Saragusa's daughter would be appealing enough to young men to pull them back to the Democratic Party. And she said herself that that's not the case, and it was pushed as a big deal last week, which is one of the reasons I've waited on actually speaking on this, because I know how the internet and news works now, where just wait, because you'll find out that it's not particularly, whatever you're reading isn't particularly accurate. So she's not in charge of bringing young men back to the Democratic Party. But the idea or the thought that this would be a fantastic representation of what appeals to young men, well, that is something that an estrogen-rattled brain would come up with. And when I say estrogen, I'm not speaking about women. Oh, no. I'm speaking about men and women who think more in a feminine type of way or meaning or being. So let's continue.
Are the ones that made it about a woman and her identity and the way that she looks. Something that y'all consistently claim the Democrats do. You don't actually give a fuck about young men. Instead, a lot of you.
So here's the thing. No, they don't. They're not supposed to. See, we're men. We are supposed to be concerned about ourselves. As nature would have it, our whole thing is just stay out of our way. At the most basic bottom tier levels of masculinity, it's mainly leave me alone and get out of my way, which is why you can pull all of the all of the spokespeople and celebrities and the like that you want, but in reality, most men, not all, because once again, there's some estrogen-riddled men out there, but for the most part, our whole thing is just leave me alone, okay? Let me have, and when it comes to the government's role as far as men is concerned is make sure there's jobs, make sure that the cost of living stays down, and we can afford our families, and we can take it from there. Because the innate part of masculinity is understanding that you're alone. You are alone in this world. One of the biggest problems that we have is this whole push towards mental health in men. Oh, we have to be so concerned about mental health in men. It's the fakest shit I've ever come across in life, because you don't really care. You want a couple of dollars for your therapy thing or whatever charity that you're running for the most part. But when it's one of those things that sounds good, but when you really break it down to its atom, it's not about us at all. This is about it's nothing more than a gigantic virtue signal or a means in which to get people into their into your little stratosphere when it comes to the likes of BetterHelp and all these different services. It's not really about servicing us or making sure that things are just like out of the way and in the clear and we can just have and raise our families. That's not what it's about at all. But ma'am, continue.
You want to talk about my weight? You're using pictures of me from about 65 pounds ago. So let me ask you this. If I lose another 65 pounds, will y'all actually raise young men's wages?
Once again, it's not about young men's wages, because we've had pay disparity or pay equality in this country since the 60s, right? So it's not particularly about raising the wages. It's about keeping taxes low so that those wages, whatever wage it is that you make, can go further. You get where I'm coming from? Which is why, and sweetie, drop another 65 pounds and we're just going to be looking for you to drop another 65 pounds, okay? You, my dear, are what we like to refer to as like a moped, fun to ride, but you don't want your friends to catch you on one. Because she's said in various videos how she's gone to frat parties and she's talked to the guys. I can guarantee you, frat guys are not sitting there wanting to have deep philosophical conversations about the economic realities of the American capitalist system. No, 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 no. Trying to get a drunk, and probably on a train. Like, that's it. That's it. And whatever little nonsense and BS that you got to get through in order to get there, hey, they're willing to get through. So they'll sit there and quote unquote listen to you, but they're not going to listen with intent of actually taking you seriously. They're just like waiting for you to get just drunk enough to be able to consent properly, but still wear that shit out.
Will you actually increase funding to mental health services, or are you just going to find another way to deflect from the fact that y'all don't actually have any policy plan to help them? I can keep making this into some kind of big joke of, oh yeah, let's send her to every frat house in the country. I'm not afraid to go into frat houses or to go.
Of course, you're very, very welcome, because, we're going to sit there, run that train, and send you on your way. You do the little walk of shame. And but actually, this is the type of chick that wouldn't be shamed at all, because it's like, oh my goodness, 5 dudes found me attractive enough to create an erection. I'm doing pretty well in life. And that's how a lot of these chicks operate, man. I kid you not. I just find it really, really hilarious. And the main reason I'm making the video is because it's a matter of, masculinity, not versus, but masculinity coming into conflict with femininity, because we're not supposed to be at conflict at all. We are not competitors. We are components, and that components that work well best together, right? But that's not the world that we live in anymore. We live in a world where, women are told that they're the exact same thing as men, and somebody like this can delusionally think that she understands what is men's real problem and and as long as you continue to try to go down this path, then you're always just gonna trip all over your face.
College campuses or to talk to Republicans, because unlike y'all, I don't think that they're all shallow assholes. I think that they're actual people who can hold a conversation. But clearly, based off the way you talk about them and the way that you treat them, you think that they're dumb as shit. I actually don't.
God, I hate women cursing. It really, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm weird, but it is the most, it grates my ears, because that's just that, like, you're talking real hard and real tough when you are neither nor. And it's infuriating to me. Like it's just like, and I know that's the old man in me talking, because, 2025 young ladies swear they're dudes, but nah, you are what God made you, sweetie. Plain and simple.
So I'm going to continue to advocate for young men to get the policy agenda that they do deserve. And I'm going to continue to lose weight. And then maybe when I finally do drop that next 65 pounds, we can revisit this conversation.
No, because you'll still be like, okay, so 65 plus 65 is 130. So you'll be like, after that other 65 pounds, you'll still be 130 pounds down, but you'll still be like another 50, 60 pounds off from being, moderately, not embarrassingly attractive.
And see if you can actually stand on business. Because this time, none of you fucking did.
Once again,
in charge.
Go back to this, because it's like, stop cursing. Cursing doesn't make you cool. Cursing does not push you forward. And you know what? The Democratic Party, they've been doing this a lot, where they're just like, and it's one of those things where, Trump can do it. Trump, A, is a dude, and B, Trump didn't come in on the same wavelength that normal politicians come in on. So when you see the likes of Jasmine Crockett and all these other politicians cursing and the like, in these figureheads where, we're just going to curse, and that's really going to get the people going. Like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. It comes across as very disingenuous, and particularly grating if you're a woman sitting there thinking that having foul language is somehow, makes you more appealing to anybody, let alone men. So guys, with that being said, we done here. All the internet stuff. Until the next one.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. Every breath I take without your permission raises my self-esteem.